Hi, welcome to College Thought. Let me introduce about myself. Myself is Muhammad Abdullah. I do have 12 plus years of hands-on experience in AngularJS and Angular framework. So here today we are going to discuss about AngularJS and AngularJS framework. So now is like today's agenda is what? If you notice here, today's agenda is today's agenda is why AngularJS. Okay. Next one, what is AngularJS? What is AngularJS? Prerequisite of AngularJS, then advantages of AngularJS. So today's agenda here, why AngularJS, okay, what is AngularJS and prerequisite of AngularJS and advantages of AngularJS. So first to discuss why AngularJS. Copy this one. Okay, why AngularJS here? Most of the software development companies or IT frames either like product based companies or service based companies, like we develop the multi-page web application. So what does it mean here? So let us understand practically. So multi-page application in the sense what? We have one master page which consists of more than one pages. So let's say this is my home page, this is my what here, about page, and this is my service pages, and this is my what here contact pages. Means so multi-page web application can consist of more than one pages, one or more than one pages. Let's say for example, let's say my application name, application name is xyz.com, which is a master or main page, which is a what here, master or main page. Let me write main or master page here, master page, which consists of number of pages here. Let's say we have first one home page, we have about page, we have service page, and we have let's say here contact us page here. Okay, so now if let me write here, this is what home page here, home page, this is home page. Okay, this is about page, this is about page here, there is about page. Next one, this is what here, service page here, and this is what here, it's a contact page here, Okay, before AngularJS framework, as I told you, most of the IT companies or software development companies, either product based companies or service based companies, were used to develop the multi-page web application. So what would be the drawback in the multi-page web application? Whenever end user is sending, for example, let's say we have some users, let's say one or more than one or 10,000 users or 1 lakh or 1 millions of customer, if they are sending the request to my XYZ multi-page web application. So whenever once your multi-page web application is ready, we need to deploy in the application servers or any real-time server. Whenever end user are sending the request, every time in the multi-page web application, every time page will be reloaded. Means if one or more than one request, let's say every day 1 lakh requests are coming from the customers. So every time page will be reloaded in the application, then might be the request and response operation. If you're talking about whenever end users are sending the request to my multi-page application, so now at a time we are getting the 10,000 requests, and all 10,000 requests goes to the what here server, any application server or any real-time server. So at that time, every time page will be reloaded. Here we are our customers are sending the request properly in the server, by taking the response, it is giving some delay, sometimes server down. This is the problem. AngularJS came into the picture to develop single page application. Single page application. What is single page? Means the main motive of AngularJS is to develop single page application. So what is single page application? Let me write here. What is single page application? It is the process. It is a process or it is a process or methodology. It is a process or methodology. Okay, to navigate from one component to another component here, without reloading the page, then it is set to be single page application. Single page application. So there are what are the benefits of developing the single page application? Here let us understand some practically. Let me open this one. Let's say I'll show you one multi-page application here. Let me open the Google Chrome here. Let's say we have multi-page application called NASA here. Okay, let me click on this one. Okay, first time it is reloading. So like NASA is a multi-page web application. Whenever if you want to navigate from mission, galleries or NASA TV or follows the NASA, if you notice on the top area here, every time page will be reload here. Let me click on this one. Every time if you notice here, for gallery for NASA, download here. Okay, if you go towards NASA block, every time page is reloading here. This is the, so what happened here, NASA is a multi-page web application. So for let's say 10,000 customers or user are sending the request to NASA application. So what will happen, request, NASA can take the request properly. At the time of providing the response, it may take some time, because every time means 10 time here, if the 10,000 customers or user using the NASA multi-page application, 10 time page has to be reload here. To overcome this problem, we have another called here React.js. React.js is a what's a single page application, only one time. Let me click this one. So here we have some component here, doc component. Here this is the single page application. So if I click on doc, page will not be reloaded here. If I am going to tutorial block, for every components here, page will be not reloaded. Means here for single page application, if one user or 10,000 user or 10 lakhs or even 1 lakh user are sending the request to what's here single page application, so our single page application process all the requests and provides the response. The reason is what, every time is what's here page is not reloading instantly. If the end user is sending the request, our single page application can provide the response instantly. So that is the reason, the main motive of like AngularJS is to develop single page application here. If you take the example of single page application, we have for example Gmail, comma Google Maps, Google Map here, Google Maps, okay, Google Maps here, and next one we have like like Airbnb here, comma next one here like Airbnb and Pinterest here, okay. These are the what single page application. Next one guys, let me discuss about what is AngularJS. What is AngularJS? Let me copy this one here. Let me copy here. Let's say what is AngularJS. Let me write point wise guys here, okay. AngularJS is a front end JavaScript based framework here, framework guys here, framework here, okay. JavaScript based framework here. AngularJS is a front end JavaScript based framework, okay. The main objective of AngularJS is to develop the single page application, okay, single page application. Next one, AngularJS to develop AngularJS application, to develop AngularJS application, or to develop single page application, okay, using via AngularJS, we must add plugin or CDN, okay, which is like CDN. To develop single page application via AngularJS, we must add plugin or CDN in our what here, in our HTML file here, okay. So now HTML file. Next one guys, here if you notice here, next one, AngularJS uses directives here. AngularJS uses directive to develop what here, single page application here, okay, to develop single page application. Next one, if you notice sir here, like what is, these are the like what some of the points related to AngularJS, and like AngularJS developed AngularJS developed by Google company, okay, Google company here, Google company, okay, which is the first version, which is the first version here, which is the first version here. These are the some points are there related to what is AngularJS. Next one, before discussing about what's here, we'll just know what are the prerequisites, okay. Now what are the prerequisites to learn like AngularJS. Let me copy this one, okay, let me copy this one here, okay. Prerequisite, whenever if you want to like learn AngularJS framework, okay, we do require some prerequisites. First one, you should have hands-on idea on HTML and HTML5 here, HTML and HTML5. Then next one, CSS and CSS3 here, CSS and CSS3. Then JavaScript here. if you are talking about like I don't have any idea on like HTML and HTML5, CSS and CSS3 along with JavaScript, then we are not able to understand how we are developing the single page application. So the mandatory skills or prerequisite for AngularJS, we must have idea on HTML and HTML5, CSS and CSS3, and like JavaScript. These are the prerequisite to learn AngularJS. Next one, let me discuss about why should we learn AngularJS. AngularJS. Okay. So now let me write, sir, like advantages of AngularJS here. First one, we have first advantage is what? Data binding. Data binding here, data binding. Second one, like whenever if you want to develop single page application via AngularJS framework, so like it follows one design pattern, means especially if you are talking about AngularJS follows one MVC design pattern, MVC design pattern here, MVC design pattern. Next one, another, like as I told you, another 3 powerful benefits of AngularJS whenever if you want to develop single page application as per the business requirement. So these are the 3 powerful features of AngularJS. So everyone can choose or select to develop single page application for their business perspective, for their business requirement as per their project requirement. Another is what, sir? Single page application. So these are the benefits are there. If I am talking about what is data binding here, what is data binding? So data binding is categorized into 2 ways. First one, let's say this is one of the powerful feature or advantages of AngularJS, one way data binding. Second one, if you notice here guys, two way data binding. Two-way data binding here. Two-way data binding. Next one, if I am talking about, sir, what is one-way data binding? Let me write short definition so you can understand. Even we'll see everything practically also guys here. Okay. So it is the process. It is the, if you notice guys here, it is the process here. It is a process or methodology. It is a process or methodology. To binds the application data from component here, from component to guys here, from component to view sir. Okay sir. So what is one way data binding guys here? One way data binding is nothing but it is a process or methodology to binds the application data from component to view. Then you can say it is a one way data binding. Next one, let me discuss about short definition about two way data binding. So now if you notice guys, it is the process. It is the process or methodology. It is the process or methodology to binds the application data from component to view, and view to component here. View to components are here. So basically this is one of the future guys here, one of the powerful feature of AngularJS. So it provides the data binding in the form of one way data binding and two way data binding. Next one, let me discuss about second features here. MVC design pattern. okay, MVC design pattern here. So whenever if you want to develop, okay, whenever if you want to develop guys single page application via AngularJS framework, compulsory follow one design pattern called, okay, MVC. So MVC, what is MVC? Here interviewer will ask you guys, let me tell you, if you have like in the IT industry or software development company, if you are going to only, if you want to make your career as a software developer via AngularJS, so we do have two position guys, one is AngularJS developer, another Angular engineer. So whenever as a AngularJS developer, which is the first version introduced by Google company to develop single page application, it follows one what's a design pattern. That design pattern is nothing but MVC. So what is design pattern, how the MVC will work? Definitely I'll write some theory and later we'll do the practical implementation as well. MVC stands for model view controller. Okay, model view controller guys, here model view controller here, model view controller. So here what is model guys? Here if I am talking about what is model here? Model means what guys? We can put business logic here, we can put business logic and persistence logic here, persistence logic, sir, here persistent logic. Okay, next one guys, if you notice here, view. What is view? One of the interview question guys here, if you're going for the what? If you're going for the interview as a AngularJS or Angular engineer, the first and foremost thing they might want to ask you the question, okay, what is MVC, how it prepares? When you develop the single page application using AngularJS, one of the interview question is, interviewer will ask you, do you know while developing AngularJS, while developing single page application, while working with AngularJS, it follows one design pattern. Can you tell me what is the name of the design pattern? That is nothing but MVC. V means complete presentation logic here. Next one, controller. Next one is controller guys here. Controller means it act as a mediator between it act as a mediator between, okay, model and view, sir, here model and view. Now this is the another feature, means whenever if you want to develop, as I told you guys, single page application using AngularJS framework, compulsory we have to follow one design pattern methodology. The design pattern methodology is nothing but MVC here. Next one, this is another advantage. Next one, as I told you, single page application, okay, single page application here, single page application here. Okay now sir, so already I have written here like what is single page application means. Okay, now if you notice guys, what is single page application? It is a process or methodology to navigate from one component to another component without reloading the page. Then it is that application is said to be single page application guys here. Next one, now whenever if you are working with what guys, as I told you, let us start some practical implementation. Means I want to develop very simple application using application using Angular framework. So what we require, sir, what are the IDE required? If you notice, sir, if you where can I write the code? Directly you can write the code in notepad also. Nowadays most of the companies are directly working on some IDEs are here. So how can we start practical implementation? Means how to start here, how to start the practical implementation, how to start the practical implementation guys here, practical implementation for AngularJS framework, sir, here for AngularJS framework. Okay, so first sir, we required some IDET sir, IDET, ID sir. Basically we have number of, okay, like we have number of IDET called. So we are going to use what site? Visual Studio Code. We are going to use Visual Studio Code here. Visual Studio, Visual Studio, okay, Visual Studio Code here. Visual Studio Code. We have any number of like n number of IDETs are there, like we have Sublime also, Sublime. So what we are going to use for like Sublime text something, Sublime text guys here, Sublime text here. So we are going to use like Visual Studio Code here. So already guys, if you know, as I told you that if you have pre-request, okay now. So now what I want to do already in my laptop sir, if you want to sir, what is Visual Studio Code, how can we install sir? Let me open this one. Directly you can enter here, for example, Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio Code guys here, Visual Studio Code here. Okay, let me click on downloads. You're able to see block here, download Visual Studio Code for different operating system. So currently I am using Windows operating system. Let me click on this one. Let me click on this one. So after you are able to see, it will be downloaded. So in my operating system already I do have like Visual Studio Code like installed in my operating system. On my screen you are able to see here, this is the symbol here. This is the symbol for what? Visual Studio Code, where we start the practical implementation of single page application using like Visual Studio Code IDET. So as I told you, the first and foremost thing guys, before starting the practical implementation of like single page application via AngularJS, so first we like like you should have very good idea on HTML, HTML5, CSS and CSS3 and JavaScript. So now let us like start one simple application sir here. So now like let us understand what is like one of the future of AngularJS, as I told you sir, one-way data binding. I will show you some of the example of one-way data binding and two-way data binding guys here. So now let me open what was here, like this is the what, let me open that, right click on Visual Studio Code here, or otherwise already I do have one file sir, okay, I do have one file. So whenever if you are doing practical implementation guys here, let me open this file sir via Visual Studio Code. So this is my file is there sir, okay, let me remove this one. This is the plugin sir, already this is the plugin for what sir, AngularJS. If you want to develop what like single page application, we need to add some CDN or plugin. This is the plugin for AngularJS framework, which is provided by the what, like Google company. So if you want to starting development of single page application, we must add this what sir here, CDN or plugins are here. So let me copy this one sir here. Let me tell you how can we start here, how can we start here. Remove this one sir, remove this one. So this is my Visual Studio Code. Already viewers, like if you have idea on HTML and CSS and JavaScript, if I am talking about, so this is my HTML file sir. Always HTML file will like save with the help of .html extension. For example, let me remove this one guys, I want to take another file text, okay na sir, let me save as sir here, just save as guys here, save as. I want to make it here, for example, let's say Angular sir here, Angular 1, I'm writing here Angular 1 dot tx like dot html. So whenever you want here, whenever if you want to develop single page application via AngularJS, first we have to save our file with .html extension. So now let me save this one. So one file is already saved on desktop. The name of the words are here angular1.html, or you can create one separate folder also. Directly I am creating on desktop. That file name is angular1. The extension must and should be .html. So now what I will do here, after saving, like why you are using Visual Studio Code sir, for Angular single page development, single page application development via AngularJS, the benefit of Visual Studio Code is After saving the file angular1.html file here, if you want sir, like we have some structure in HTML and HTML5, directly I can take the structure like this here. Okay, this is my complete with the help of shift not equal to our complete HTML structure in front of your screen here. So now, so my HTML structure is ready. Okay, so we need to add the CDN. So we are going to develop single page application. After writing the HTML code, compulsory we required to add plugin or CDN which is provided by Google company inside the head tag. Let me copy this one. So this is my what sir, if introducer CDN or plugin for Angular application. So here I will give you for example AngularJS, if you notice guys here AngularJS application, this is my title. So now I am going to start guys, means I am trying to explain what is one-way data binding. So as I told you, what is one, I will show you one example of one-way data binding. It is a process, as I told you, what is one-way data binding. It is a process or methodology, okay, like binding the application data from the component to view. So what is component here? I am taking one div tag here, So this is my what here, this is my guys here, if you notice, let me remove this one sir, this is my one component here. So after adding the plugins, inside the HTML sir here, we must use some of, as I told you, complete AngularJS depends on CDN and directives are here. So what are the directives are here, which is provided, some directives provided by the Google company. If you want to use AngularJS application, one of the first and foremost or entry level directives what's are here. After creating div, we have to use ng app here, ng app and empty. So this is nothing but guys, this is nothing but viewers here, which is the indication. ng means Angular app, which is the indication of we are starting, that is the entry point of AngularJS application here. So with the help of this directive, as per the application requirement, we can start the development of single page application here. So what I want to do, this indicate, this is nothing but my component, means one-way data binding means this is complete division tag is nothing but my component, and view is nothing but whatever the views we are saying sir here. So now after we will use another directives are here. For example, ng init sir here, ng init. I am assigning ng init means what sir? Another directive is there. ng init is nothing but initializing some variable inside the component. So like whatever the variable you are taking, I want to show dynamic, I want to show dynamic data or application data from the views to component here. So equal to, let me write here for example username here, username equal to, let me write for example I am writing here Rahul, Rahul 1234, Rahul let's say 1234 my username. So now I am taking one variable called what, using ng init, means it is another directive, what I am doing, I am trying to define one username inside the component. I want to access that component inside the let's say h1 sorry, for example let me write here and even let me write inside the here for example HR, let me write HR here. Okay, here also HR, let's say HR, another HR guys. Okay, here I am writing inside the center tag, here I am writing h1, okay, tt, okay, tt, I am writing here my username. So if you want to access whatever the variable I have defined called username from component to view, we do have two methodologies are there, means first is what, AngularJS expression. So we need to pass the AngularJS expression name using username sir here, username. So what I am doing here, this is my complete one component, means whatever the div area I am taking, viewers, this all is nothing but what's a component. So one way data binding means a component to view. So now let me save this file guys after this one. So whatever the ng in it means I am initializing one variable called username, and the what is my Rahul123, it should be reflected if I open this file. Let me run this one. Let me open with what here, if you notice, open with Google Chrome or any other web browser you can take. So here you are able to see my username is what, Rahul12345. This is nothing but view here. One way data binding is nothing but here. So like component, what is component here? In my Visual Studio Code, I am creating one like div tag. First time like using one directive called ng app, which is the entry level for AngularJS application. I want to bind the username from component to view, which is generally what we are calling one way data binding here. Okay, so let me copy this one example guys here. This is the one way. Okay, let me write here one way data binding, one way data binding, one way data binding. Okay, example 1. Example 1 here, example 1 here. Okay, example 1 guys here. This is the example 1. So one process, like one methodology is what, sir? We can access the my username from component to view using AngularJS expression. Another methodology is there if you want to binds the application data from the component guys here. We can directly use one another directory called ng bind, ng bind here. So let me pass ng bind here inside the TT. Let me write ng bind equal to, let me pass my variable name called username here, username here. So even whatever the data you are declaring inside the component, we can access to the what from whatever the application data we can access from component to view. One is with AngularJS expression, another with what, another directive called ng bind directive. Let me save and check it output. Let's refresh this page. Let me refresh this one. So we are getting Rahul12345. basically guys, as a AngularJS developer, if you are working for any single page application in one of the company, basically most of the time and most of the AngularJS developer or Angular engineers will use AngularJS expression. In the upcoming session, I will let you know what are the benefits of accessing the data from the component to view using AngularJS. Might be interviewer will ask you how many ways you can bind the data from component to views, component to view. One is AngularJS expression. Expression means got two curly braces, or another one is ng bind here. So which one is recommended to use? The recommendation when we develop the single page application using AngularJS, compulsory we have to use AngularJS expression here. So let me copy another example. Okay, example 2 here. Example 2. As I told you guys, AngularJS here completely internally it follows the JavaScript. So now I want to add the JavaScript in my Angular application. Same I want to access. For example, instead of this one, what I am doing here, let me remove this one. Let me remove this one guys. So now let me write the JavaScript outside the component. Already you know guys, JavaScript, if you want to write the JavaScript, you have to start with the script here. Let me write the script here. So now I want to define the structure, means structure of JavaScript inside the AngularJS application. So I am taking one variable, object1. That object1, that is variable name, you can take any variable. So now equal to, let me write here angular dot module here. So now before writing this one, we need to add inside the ng. Let me remove this one. We need to pass some directive here. My ng app name is what guys here? Let's say application1. I'm writing here application1 here, and we have to pass another directive, means I'm trying to perform, dear students, what one way data binding by using JavaScript sir here. So let me write ng controller also, ng controller, another like ng controller equal to, I am writing for example iHub here. Okay na sir. So my application name is what sir here? Here what? Application 1, and what is I am taking another directive sir here. If you notice here iHub here. So now what I want to do here, I am taking inside the script object 1. You can take any variable name, no, like it's your wish. So we have to write Angular module, then pass my application name here, application 1, application 1. All the like data, whatever the like you are performing the like binding the data, it will store inside in JavaScript array. A square bracket is nothing but it is in JavaScript array. Then what I am taking, I am taking one variable name, object 1 variable name dot, we need to use the controller sir here. We need to use controller here, controller. Then my controller name is what? iHub. Then if you have ID, as I told you sir, most important prerequisite to become a AngularJS, you should have hands-on experience on JavaScript here. In JavaScript scripting language, one like topic or concept is there called anonymous function here. So I will use the script via anonymous functions here. After iHub, I am trying to use function. Then internally I will use one argument as a $scope, which is an object to what is it? Object in AngularJS, dear students here. Now if you notice sir, let me open and close here. I want to pass one variable $scope here, $scope dot, let me write here username here, username equal to, I want to write this time Rahul 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. Now I want to access, so I am writing inside the JavaScript, I am using what here, as I told you, like basically in the real time world, if you want to develop what's a single page application, this is the main process. Compulsory you have to add JavaScript in your HTML, which is like basically deals with all dynamic operation we can perform using JavaScript guys, where we can write the business. Even if you want to perform like MVC, I'll tell you what is model view controller. That's why I'm using what? ng app and ng controller. So what is my controller here? Controller is nothing but iHub. So this is my component, whatever the data I'm like writing inside the JavaScript, from the component to it will goes to what's here view here. So now what I want to do, how can we access here? For example, let's say h1, again tt, I'm taking tt here, tt, my username is, let me write here colon here, my username is colon, 2 curly braces here. Let me pass the what here, whatever the like what names are here. For example, let's say username, my variable name is what? Username guys here. Let's say username here, username guys here, username. So now we'll get once again same output here, my username is, let me refresh here, we are going to see what my username is. There is a problem guys, just wait. Function object application 1, okay, then I have function here anonymous scope $scope dot username equal to, okay, what's here semi, let me apply the semicolon, okay, h1, my username is user, n is missing guys here. If you notice here in the interpolation here, here n is missing, username, now you will get the output guys. If you notice guys, let me refresh, okay, my username is Rahul 1 2 3. So now this is the main approach sir. If you want to develop what's here single page application using AngularJS, we must import like JavaScript in our HTML. This is the main like developers will use the what sir, this what script, JavaScript guys. So where we can write the our application business logics are here. So let me copy, this is the example, means we have seen the 3 example of only one way data binding guys here. So let me copy, like one means I have defined simple variable using what's our ng in it, and we can access what's our first using AngularJS expression, and second one I have accessed same the data means application data from component to view. I have accessed using what like AngularJS expression. Second one is ng bind here. This is called one way. Another one what next approach. I am trying to define my variable name inside the what JavaScript, and again I am performing one way data binding here. So let me copy this one. Let me copy this one here. Example 3 here. Example 3 guys, example 3 here. Now let me give you another example guys. What? Two-way data binding, two-way data binding. Okay, two-way data binding here, two-way data binding here. If you want to perform two-way data binding, okay, we do have one directive in AngularJS viewers. So what is the name of the directory? ng model. Ng model here, ng model here. Using ng model we can perform what's here two-way data binding. What is two-way data binding? It is a process or methodology to binds the application data from the component to view and view to component, means both the direction we can bind the like what application data. It is one of the powerful feature of AngularJS guys here. So let us understand. I want to create some login form, simple login form here. Let me remove all this thing here. I want to use one field set here. For example, field set. Let me use field set here. Okay, let me use one legend. Let me increase the fonts here. Control Shift. Okay, so now if you notice here, let me write here legend. Legend here, legend. Let me write here, for example, two-way data binding. Two-way data binding here. Two-way. Let me write guys here two-way. Okay, two-way data binding. Two-way data binding here. Two-way data binding. Two-way data binding. So let me take center here. Center here. Let me take center. Center guys here. Okay, let me take, if you want to create form in HTML, we have to use what's our form tag here. Action equal to nothing is action equal to nothing. Method equal to no doubt sir post. So we basically if you want to send the complete like form data from the front end to back end sir, we do have methods like most commonly method is post method, because it is what sir internally it uses what sir STPP what's communication protocol. So we can give the like what like assurance, we can provide the security to our of data. That's what we can use method equal to post. Basically we do have two types of like methods. One is get and one is post sir. Here post is what like internally it uses STTP protocol. We can give the like guarantee of our data and we can provide the security of our data sir here. So I am writing guys here for example inside the table I am writing what one tr guys, tr td I am writing guys here. Okay, td, let's say here I want to write for example label I am writing here. Let's say I am passing here like what username here, username. Let me take another one td guys here, for example td. Okay, let me write here, if you want to create the text field in HTML and HTML5, we have one tag called input tag here. Input tag. Let me create text here. Then we have like input tag has any number of attributes are here. One of the attribute is what's a type equal to text. Another attribute I want to use placeholder. Placeholder in the sense what? Even if you are not writing label tag viewers, so if you want to give the intimation to the end user what to enter in this field here, so using placeholder attribute we can give the intimation to the end user what you need to enter in the particular text field. I am telling that enter the username. So here I want to perform two-way data binding. If you want to perform two-way data binding using login form, we do required one like one attribute, one directive called AngularJS directive called ng model here, and let me pass any name. For example, I am writing what here username. You can give same name also, no problem. Then I want to take another one tr here, tr. Let me take td here. I want to take label here, label. Okay, now let me take label here, label. So now I want to use, for example, password here, password. Okay, password guys here. So now let me take another one, another td here, another td here. Next one I want to take input here, input tag, type equal to text. Okay, placeholder, placeholder here, placeholder guys here. Let's say password here, password here. Okay, next one I need to again I need to take ng directive, sir, like one directive of Angular guys, ng model, ng model equal to, let me write here password here, let me write password. Okay, password guys here. So now if you notice, sir, here, so what is my model, sir, here? Here ng one is like, you know, one ng model is username and another one is password here. So what I want to do, I want to perform guys here, for example, my username I am checking, sir, like inside the, go to the script, JavaScript code, sir, here take one variable $scope dot username here. Which username, sir? This is whatever we have provided in the ng model, same username you have to pass as a variable to the what, $scope dot variable. I am telling that my username is Rahul12345. Then I want to take another $scope here, $scope dot password here, $scope dot password. Okay, let me write, sir, underscore 12345, 12345. This is my two, like, you know, I have taken what, one is username, okay, $scope dot username and $scope dot password here. So I want to access this data guys here. What I'll do, I will take another like, you know, HR, like b1 br equal to br. I want to access like two-way data binding, like I want to take table, for example, let's say, let me write table here, table, let me write tr. Okay, inside the tr I am writing here username, first one is username. Okay, next one is what, password here, password here, password. Okay, password guys here. Let me take another one, I want to pass here some border, means border property, border equal to, let's say, I want to give you 3. Okay, na sir. So now next one, tr equal to td. So using AngularJS expression, whatever the variable name I have defined inside the JavaScript here, we need to pass here username here, username. Okay, again I want to pass another td, td equal to with AngularJS expression, AngularJS expression called, okay, like password guys here, password here. Okay, password. So now let me refresh the page once again guys here, let me refresh the page. You are able to see one words are here, one username and passwords are here, one username and password guys. If you notice guys, already we have one data here, we can change the data also, sir, that is called already, means already one way data binding means, let me refresh once again guys here. If you notice, sir, already username and password is available guys here. So input type equal to, we need to take password guys, for password field we have to take here password, not text. Let me take here password guys here, password guys here. Okay, now let me check it, sir, you, let me refresh. So password, so what is, sir, like I am defining some data inside the component and like you are able to see in the view, this is called one way data binding. From component to view is nothing but what, one way data binding. Then what does like two way data binding means, component to view and view to component. Here I can change the data, means let me remove this one, I can write my own Ajay, Ajay 12345. Automatically see, sir, you know, in the username field you are able to make the changes here. So even you can change the password also, underscore 33445 here. This is the example of two-way data binding here. So like basically, as I told you, sir, here one of the powerful feature of AngularJS here, based on the application requirement here, Angular, like we can send the data as per the application requirement. In our single page application we can send the like application data from component to view, and as well as what, from view to component. That is nothing but two-way data binding here. So let me copy this one guys here, let me copy this one, Okay, let me copy this one example guys here, two-way data binding. Okay, so let me copy example 1 here, example 1 here. So now this is the some example guys here, viewers. Let me tell you, if you really some points guys here, like if you want to, if you have very good knowledge on HTML and HTML5, CSS and CSS3, and most important, if you have like very good knowledge on hands-on idea on JavaScript, you can start your IT career using AngularJS developer. The companies like either product based companies or service based companies, if you are talking about Wipro Technologies and TCS, they do have like 365 days requirement for AngularJS developer. Only I am talking, this is the what, AngularJS is the first version. Nowadays like already in like Google company introduced current version might be 14 version. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 after having some idea, because why I am starting our Angular framework journey with the first version. Whenever if you are going to the interview guys here as a fresher or experience, compulsory interviewer will focus you how you are strong in AngularJS here. If you have very good knowledge and hands-on idea in AngularJS, then they will ask you the further what is the need of Angular 2, why like Google company introduced like Angular 2. In the next session, like after like having some like practical means some of the important topics in AngularJS, if you like interviewer will target in these areas. So like how, like what is AngularJS, what is MVC, one-way data binding and two-way data binding. So we do have some, for example, let's say we have some like some pre-filters, like predefined filters and custom filters, like which are even services. So all this thing we'll discuss later after AngularJS. If you have idea on AngularJS, directly we can learn updated version here. We have some more topics in AngularJS. In the next session we'll discuss about predefined filters. What are those here? First we will go for example let's say here what is filters actually, what are filters, okay, filters here, what are filters, and how can we implement here, how can we implement, okay, filters are here. How can we implement filters are here, okay. So these are like some of the topics are there, like what are the filters, how can we implement the filters, okay. Like, and next one will go for somewhat AngularJS services guys, AngularJS services here, AngularJS, if you notice here AngularJS services, then AngularJS events also, AngularJS, let me write JS, okay. Angular, let me write here AngularJS, what's here, AngularJS events as well. These are the topics are there guys. So we are going to discuss like in the next session viewers. So next session also will continue with AngularJS. After AngularJS I'll explain like why like Angular the Google company has introduced and different version. Current version is what here, like 14 point something version is going on. So after these topics, so as I told you, whenever if you want to make your career in only Angular engineer, the companies like whether it may be like product based companies or like services based companies, whether if it is big MNC or level 2 or level 3 companies, if you are mentioning in your resume that you have very good knowledge on Angular framework, first they will target on you how you are strong in AngularJS. So we do have some like topics which are most important for the sake of interview perspective. If you want to if you want to make your career in the IT industry via Angular engineer or AngularJS developer, we have some topics. After the topics we'll go for like why Google company introduced second, third version, fourth, up to like what are the like extension or additional functionality Google has added for latest version. After this topic we'll go for like last like highest new version of Angular, okay. So this is the session guys. So we'll continue in the next session of like once again AngularJS. To watch more videos please subscribe Quality Thought. Thank you guys, thank you.